It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shot.
Hey, ¿qué ondas? What's poppin', vatos locos? It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas for a Thursday night edition of the Shoe Shine podcast. Joining me, as always, is my co-host all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia's Philly Irish Drew Evo. How you feeling, Drew?
So.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, man, Drew's not doing too well. You know, just a few weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago, I had COVID, and it took me a good 10 days to get over it. I know you don't have COVID, but man, the flu can kick your ass. So to everybody who was looking forward to a Monday night show, we both apologize. Hey, but better late than never, guys, because guess what? December is going to be a really good month for all of you who love the sport of boxing, the sweet science, and I thank everyone who's here, Sin City Syndicate, JC, Chicano Prophet. I know a lot of people are like, what? We don't even know what's cracking. Bella Bling, gracias for coming into the room. If you guys want to get in on the discussion, since it's a last-minute show, the phone lines are open. 702-710-3627 is the phone line. Drew, hey, actually, there was some pretty good fights this weekend, man, and I'm excited because Regis Prograis finally got all the credit and respect he deserved, I think, this weekend when he regained for the second time the light welterweight 140-pound championship. Many people thought, arguably, he beat Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor should have never been undisputed 140-pound champ. But here he is again, Regis Prograis with Probellum, with Richard Schaefer in his corner, with Marv Nation from Los Angeles, a small promoter putting on a pay-per-view, Drew. Not only did he win the title, but convincingly, man. Did he put on a good show for you, man? Regis Prograis looked fantastic in there to me.
Well, I did predict the knockout. So
I think we actually both predicted that knockout. But even then, if I'm thinking back, I don't think we had a show that week, did we? I know I did the roundtable, and I predicted a late stoppage as well. I can't even keep count, man, guys. But listen, guys, the point is that Chon Zepeda looked very pedestrian. Chon Zepeda, who fought Fresno's Jose Ramirez, a former 140-pound unified champion himself. I think Chon Zepeda had such a good fight against Jose Ramirez that I think maybe he beat him. You could argue that too. You could argue that really the champions should have been Regis Prograis and Chon Zepeda, and here they are finally fighting for the vacated belt that Josh Taylor gave up because Josh Taylor says I can't afford to pay all these stupid sanctioning body fees. I can't even afford to keep these belts. So here you go. A Dominican fighter, I think his name is Puello, he picked up a fight, picked up that one of the vacant belts, and now we had two really top elite 140-pound fighters in Los Angeles, the War Zone, formerly known as the StubHub Center, go toe-to-toe, Drew. And does Regis Prograis look even better to you than he has in past fights? Because I think I saw some major improvements in his game.
Well, the last couple fights, like his last 3 or 4 fights, he won by KO.
Yeah, but some of them were on like lesser known cards. Of course, they experimented with him on Trilla, and nobody really saw that against Ivan Redcatch, I believe. An easy fight for him.
Name is.
It was right. Easy fight.
But like, yeah, it was an easy fight. The dude was looking for a way out.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it like this fight that just happened was a signature win, even though, Regis Prograis just showed that he's a B-level fighter at best and everything. But he's a guy that had impressive knockout wins over was Jorge Vargas.
Mm-hmm. Jose Vargas on Top Rank, right? He made an easy work of him himself, like a one-round knockout of a future star that Top Rank had invested a lot of time and energy into Jose Vargas. And it was an embarrassing KO loss, a real setback for Jose Vargas. Chon Zepeda, rightfully, in my opinion, earned a crack for the second time in his life at that title at 140 pounds. It didn't end well for him. Two southpaws going toe-to-toe. Regis Prograis here, you can see him. There's a little clip from Twitter celebrating a very solid KO win. Zepeda had no answer, Drew. He literally had no answer. I'm blown away by Regis Prograis' incredible head movement, Drew, because now I kind of, there's a lot of comparisons being made to Canelo, how Canelo made a lot of improvements in his defense, specifically with his head movement at the waist. Chon Zepeda couldn't touch him. It just felt like, man, after round one, he just couldn't find the guy's face. And he wasn't doing a good job of attacking Regis Prograis to the body. He really had no answer for him, for what Regis Prograis was doing.
It was just really an easy fight for Prograis. After round one, he figured him out and everything, Then the knockout came unexpectedly. So it was a fight that it was his for the taking.
Yeah. And now we find ourselves, listen, 140 pounds, the division is stacked with so much talent. You've got new additions because just 2 years ago, people were talking about the four kings at lightweight, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Tank Davis, who already experimented fighting Mario Barrios at 140. Teofimo Lopez is going to be having his second fight at 140 pounds on Top Rank in just a couple of weeks in Brooklyn. And you got Ryan Garcia coming in at a catch weight, supposedly might be having a super fight with Tank Garcia at 136 pounds, but really in his last fight out recently, he came in at the 140-pound weight limit. So now you guys got all these young, fresh talent. You guys who are established, like former world champions in Jose Ramirez from Fresno, who is most likely going to get a crack at this title that Regis Prograis has. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight between Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez found himself in a position to take up this fight, an opportunity. He was rightfully deserved being the former world champion, but he got married and he put the wedding first. It was already scheduled. He has invested a lot of time, energy with his lovely fiance, and the wedding came first. But Drew, I was just saying that it looks like Jose Ramirez is going to get first crack at this title defense at Regis Prograis. And Regis Prograis is not even tripping, man. He's very confident in his game. Jose Ramirez did not look good against Joshua Taylor. Joshua Taylor did not look good against Jack Catterall. I think the division, as Regis Prograis states it, he probably looks the best out of the entire crop right now at 140 pounds. We're going to get a chance to see what Teofimo Lopez, he thinks he's going to be a world champion at 140 against Sandor Martin, Drew. That fight's coming up, man. And I'm actually more excited about that fight than who his original opponent was, because Sandor Martin is a slick southpaw. And if he's going to get by and beat Regis Prograis, Teofimo Lopez, get a crack at him, he better start getting some southpaw top-level opposition in preparation for that fight, in my opinion. So that's what it is, guys. If you're listening right now and you haven't hit the like, man, hit the like. If you're going to catch us on replay, because this is not our normal night, please leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. Who really is going to eventually be sitting on top of the 140-pound division? We could even see a rematch, Drew, between Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. Now they both have titles, man. And Regis Prograis is confident that he could beat him, that he did beat him, and will beat him again.
I thought he beat him, but, I doubt the rematch happens. But, I think the Sandor Martin Teofimo fight isn't going to be an easy fight for Teofimo. I don't even know if Teofimo beats Sandor Martin.
Listen, that fight, we're gonna I'm gonna want to preview it and give it some more thought in a couple shows, or maybe even next week actually, because it'll be appropriate to do a preview then. But it's a much tougher test because Sandor Martin's still in his prime. He's not going to be fighting another tune-up fight like his original opponent was. And we're going to see what Teofimo Lopez has to offer the 140-pound division. He had a tune-up arguably in Las Vegas recently this summer. He fought the Mexican guy at 140 pounds. That guy was unknown to everybody. So enough with the tune-ups, Drew. I think Sandor Martin's going to absolutely be a tougher test. I look forward to that fight in just a couple of weeks. We're going to have the return of the welterweight champ. Some people think Terrence Bud Crawford is the best welterweight champ in the world. That fight is only coming to fruition on this BLK Prime because Terrence Crawford and him didn't fight this year, man. Didn't fight. So there's been a lot of controversy in the sport of boxing. There's been no bigger controversy this week, Drew, because everybody's losing their freaking mind over the World Cup. And Canelo Alvarez has been in the news. Drew, Canelo Alvarez has been in the news and like in my sphere of influence on social media for the past 2 weekends, because 2 weekends ago now I remember clearly that the Shoe Shine did not do a show because my team, the 49ers, were banging out a fantastic game against the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico City. It featured the halftime show by Grupo Firme, who Canelo Alvarez, Drew, if you didn't know, he threw his daughter a 15-year birthday party. It's tradition in Mexico called the quinceañera. And he hired the band that played at the halftime show for the NFL on Monday Night Football in Mexico. And that was the band that he kicked. He literally paid them and then kicked them out of his own daughter's event. Canelo Alvarez was absolutely there this couple Mondays ago at the game. The game that I'm talking about, the 49ers beat the Cardinals. Estadio Azteca, Mexico City. A beautiful game and an incredible game. One that saw my team victorious, sitting on top of the NFC West now. I'm excited for that, Drew, because it looks like I've been predicting, the 49ers and the Eagles will see each other. Fonzie619 says, Canelo is a joke, especially him trying to fight Messi. And you know what? I want to talk about boxing because there's some great trilogy fights this weekend, but I can't escape the controversy. Fonzie is absolutely correct. Everybody's going nuts over the World Cup, Drew, because patriotism and nationalism, it's the same shit that we deal with in boxing. A lot of people will only root for their fighter of their country, which, you know, is true nationalism and tribalism at its finest, right? And Canelo, upset. I think he was visibly upset that Mexico can and probably will never beat Argentina, unfortunately. Argentina, one of the greatest soccer teams, football teams of the world, and have won the World Cup many a times. Drew, he took insult. He thought that Messi, one of the world's greatest soccer players, kicked a Mexican jersey, and that set off a firestorm in the media. Even media people getting in here. It went on for days. We all know the respect Leo Messi has for everyone. When a jersey is sweaty, be it your opponent's or your own, it's left on the floor. Canelo doesn't know what goes on in the locker room of soccer stadiums in the World Cup, man. But listen, Canelo even threatened to kick his ass. It got out of control, as Fonzie619 just pointed out, man. Wanted to beat this dude's ass. And eventually, by the end of the week, we find ourselves here on Thursday night. Canelo made a response here. These last few days, I got carried away by the passion and love I feel for my country and made comments that were out of place, for which I want to apologize to Messi and the people of Argentina. Every day we learn something new, and this time it was my turn. And you know what? That was a very impressive comment, Drew, because you know what? He is a hot-blooded Mexicano, you know what I'm saying? He got carried away by the passion, as he says, and he's not going to actually go through and beat Messi's ass. As he said, you better hope I don't see you in them streets. Hey, shout out to Sin City Syndicate. Thank you for joining us. He says, Cinnamon versus Messi, midget on midget crime. Oh, wow. Whaler, what's up, Whaler, my boy from all the way from Las Vegas community. D-Thousands in the room. Canelo kissed the ring. Oh, man, and I know so many people are very invested in the World Cup. It's great. It's great, man. It only comes around every 4 years, and every nation in the world participates. So D-Stop points out, and shout out to D-Stop Boxing. Make sure you follow him and their great shows that they put out. He says Messi accepted his apology, and for that, man, I'm pleased, because now we can move on to more important shit, like a great December This is going to be a great December for boxing, Drew. I just pointed out that not only this weekend do we have 2 trilogies, one that's very important, one that's going to be historical, one that's probably going to end up with those 2 fighters, Mexico versus Nicaragua, 2 great fighters of the smaller weight classes that will be, in my opinion, first ballot Hall of Famers. That is something you do not want to miss if you enjoy seeing nonstop action. But the week after, we get to see Terrence Crawford again and see what he has and see what this new promotional outfit and BLK Prime has. You're going to get to see Teofimo Lopez, who still says he's the takeover. Will he take over the 140-pound division? After that, Drew, I'm headed back out to Vegas. I'm very excited again about this, guys. I'll be attending the Frank Martin. Got hooked up with some fantastic seats to see Frank Martin and the PBC card at the Cosmopolitan to round up this fantastic 2022 in Las Vegas. And then I have to mention, Drew, Inoue is fighting in just a couple of weeks. Inoue is fighting with Butler. I think that's going to make him the undisputed world champion at 118. Inoue fights in 2 weeks. And last but not least, Joshua Franco, the brother of Bam Rodriguez, one of the top fighters of the year, will be making a trip to Japan to take on one of the greatest Japanese 115-pound fighters. Remember, this division 115 we'll be talking about today is stacked. Ioka is one of the greatest. He's going to go all the way to Japan on New Year's Eve to fight Ioka and see if he can take that title away. How do you guys feel about Bam Rodriguez? As we're going to segue into this fight in just a moment about Chocolatito versus Estrada 3 this weekend in Arizona. Bam Rodriguez comes up from 112, Drew, has 2 amazing wins against opponents of both Estrada and Chocolatito, and Rung Sivai, the Thai fighter, beats them both. He beats him, he beats Quadras, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to let my brother shine at 115. I am headed back to 112, and that's the way it goes, giving Joshua Franco this opportunity at the end of the year to fight for that title, man. But before we get to Chocolatito versus Estrada, because that is going to be the fight of the weekend, Drew, the Gypsy King makes his return. Tyson Fury makes his return, Drew. Are you excited? Chisora, one of the greatest UK punching bags. We are going to get to see a trilogy. I don't know why we're going to see this trilogy. Is anybody excited to see this trilogy? Drew, can Chisora still take a beating?
It's going to be the same result. It might even annul you.
Do you think it's going to end up in a stoppage? Is this the last beatdown that Chisora? We've seen Chisora time and time again sit on that stool like he is about to be in a concussed state, almost fighting unconscious in the corner. Will he take such a savage beatdown this weekend from Tyson Fury? Or will Tyson Fury just take it easy on him and carry this fight and just make it an entertaining tune-up fight, a way to stay busy for next year? Because let's face it, man, the only fight heavyweights want to see, fans of the heavyweight division, is Usyk versus Tyson Fury.
Like, Tyson Fury is 100 times better than what he was the second time he fought Chisora. This ends quickly. This may end in 5 or 6 rounds. It might be that type of beating. Like, Chisora he's a guy that gasses out midway through the fight. And this guy's going to take a lot more punishment. So, I think it's going to be ending in the 6th round.
Hey, shout out.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Going to stop in 6.
It's going to stop in 6. Halfway through the 12th, we had a couple of great comments. A shout out and salute to Brusco's Boxing Jazz and More, a great channel. He says this might be, this is Chisora's retirement party. And then we had another great comment that said, what did he say here? Oh, the Fury fight is horrible. The best fight on that card is Lorena versus Dubois. True. And we saw Dubois get stopped by the, what do they call that guy? What's his name? I love that fighter. We've seen him. He has the one thud punch, looks slow as molasses. I love that UK fighter. But
Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. Dubois still might be a contender at heavyweight. Hey, a shout out to my boy Don A. I haven't seen you in so long, Don. I'm waiting anxiously for your return to the Don A late night live stream. Check out my boy Don A on YouTube. Thank you for coming in here, Don. All right, man. Drew, Are you looking forward to any other fights? It's going to be this weekend for us, most of us here. You're on the East Coast, but I'm out here in California. It'll be a daytime heavyweight fight, which is great. I think we'll get to catch it on ESPN Plus. I'm excited to see that. I like to do my chores, all the shit I can't get done around the house. You know, the husband duties. Get it done on Saturday while having that fight in the background. But honestly, if this is Chisora's last ride, man, is this a great way to go out, man? It's going to be it should be a good payday for him. And a good fight for the UK fans. What's your opinion about it? Is Chisora ready for retirement after this?
Oh, yeah. After this beating, he's going to take yes.
After the beating he's going to take. This guy takes beatings for a living, man. But you know what? While we're on the subject of UK heavyweights, a shout out to Dillian Whyte, Drew. Dillian Whyte fought this weekend against, what's that guy's name? Was it Franklin?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people had that fight kind of close. I was wondering how you had it.
I had Franklin winning 8-4.
See, that's very interesting. If you guys watch that Dillian Whyte fight, sometimes I don't think Dillian Whyte has much left in the tank either. Let me know who you thought won that fight in the comments. Drop a comment right there. Let us know who you thought won that fight. I guess most people in the chat agree that the Tyson Fury fight is kind of fodder. Chisora, he's always been entertaining. Earlier in the year, Drew, I talked about it was time for Chisora to retire. And if he hangs him up after this one, man, there is no shame in that. The guy puts on a great show, and he has a good legion of fans in the UK. And we'll see how it plays out, man. I think it should be entertaining. I'm even interested in whether or not Tyson Fury will take it easy on him just to put on a good show for the fans. And next year, there's only one thing I want to see, man, in 2023, and that is Usyk versus Tyson Fury for undisputed. It's going to be fantastic. So don't miss that fight, guys. Now, okay, all right. It's going to be a really short show tonight. I really appreciate, normally Drew and I do Monday nights, but Drew isn't feeling too gravy. I'm going to talk about this third fight between two of the greatest small lightweight fighters. You know, Drew, at one point under HBO and Gennady Golovkin, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez from Nicaragua was pound for pound fighter. It was the first time in boxing history that's maybe such a small weight fighter had become a star, a global star, pound for pound. And it also happens to be that, you know what? Mexico puts out a lot of the world's best small weight class fighters. And these two guys met for the first time in 2008 at 108 pounds in an unknown card for the very first time. Chocolatito picks up that win. They have this fight, the rematch, nearly 10 years later last year. And a lot of people thought that Estrada did not deserve that win, Drew. Here are the CompuBox numbers. Now, Estrada picks up win number 2. That leads us to the third fight, the trilogy. These guys are old for the weight class, but still some of the most fantastic fighters in their division, Drew. 35 years old, I believe, for Chocolatito. 32 for Estrada from Mexico, from the state of Sonora. And these are the stats, Drew. In the second fight last year, Estrada landed 314 to Gonzalez's 391 total punches, okay? 29% for Gonzalez, 25% for Estrada. Just on the CompuBox alone, he didn't win that fight, but CompuBox isn't how you score fights. It's just how you take total statistics, if it's even accurate, True. And in that fight, I have to be honest, man. If I watched it again, I would still probably say that the fight went to Chocolatito in a close decision, but it ended up that the judges felt Estrada did more than enough to win a split decision, leading us to this Saturday. At 35 years old, does Chocolatito, who just beat, that fighter that went, who was his name? Remember that guy, the little flyweight? He came up from 112 pounds. Julio Cesar Martinez, El Rey, he goes by El Rey, came up from 112 to 115 and got annihilated. Just didn't even belong in the ring with Chocolatito, 35-year-old Chocolatito. Is he going to have a repeat success, Drew, this year and beat up one of the greatest Mexican fighters in the 115-pound weight divisions in Estrada to pull out two out of the 3 wins, man? What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
I think I picked Chocolatito to beat Estrada. And think it's going to be more decisive than it was before, than the last fight. Like, I don't think there's going to be no debate that Chocolatito wins this fight.
I brought up the thing about soccer, Drew, because, I think like a couple of episodes ago on the roundtable, shout out to Beeb and D-Star who put on the roundtable. Embarrassingly enough, sometimes when I pick fighters that I'm a fan of, or because I stand by Mexican fighters, I end up making the wrong bet, and if I was living in Las Vegas like I plan to do next year and be at sports books all the time every weekend placing my bets, it's going to get me into trouble, Drew. And for that reason alone, I have to admit that this time I'm starting to rethink about how I call fights and make my predictions, Drew, because I can't do that shit. If I start living at a sports book every Sunday and placing my bets on Fridays, I'm going to lose my ass, Drew. And I have to say, Roman Chocolatito, who I bet against in that fight against Julio Cesar Rey Martinez, I picked the younger guy. I said Chocolatito was washed up. I said he was washed up past his prime. Boy, was I wrong. A lot of people counted out Chocolatito after being knocked out in the fourth round to I can never say his name, Rungsevai, the Thai fighter, Drew. People said his career was over. And he put together a string of impressive victories, becoming the world champion again. And here he is at 35. I got to go with you, Drew. I got to agree with you on this one, man. I think Roman Chocolatito is going to decisively beat Estrada this weekend. I think Estrada, when it comes down to it, man, the IQ he's just not as good as Roman Chocolatito. I think both of these guys are going to throw an insane amount. Last fight, I think they threw over 2,500 combined punches. And this is why, if you are not a fan that watches boxing every weekend, you must watch this weekend, because you will never see anything closer to a human cockfight. And I say that in a good way, Drew. You will never see anything like that, like you're going to see in this fight this Saturday. Guys that can throw 2,500 punches in a phone booth in close contact. There will be no running around the ring. It's going to be a straight up war. Mexico versus Nicaragua. And unlike the World Cup, we're pretty damn good at the sport of boxing, Drew, including Nicaragua. I know both of us wish we were doing so much better in world soccer, but we're not, man. So that's how it goes. Whaler says, hey, hit the thumbs up, and I appreciate Whaler for dropping that message right there. And Fonzie says here, hey, sports betting is like an ATM for me because I give them my money, and from time to time, I actually cash it out, man. And yeah, so normally, like I said, Drew, I would go with my pick, which is an emotional decision that I support Estrada. I really want Estrada to win this one. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen, I'm not entirely convinced that this weekend he will pull it off. The Arizona card is interesting. There's it looks like Mark Castro from Fresno, a young prospect that I've been watching, will be on that card amongst other people. There's some really exciting fights coming up this December, Drew. I really hope that next weekend you're feeling better and that we can return to our regularly scheduled Monday night show. Because that's what I like to do, a full hour of the Shoe Shine every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Nando Lama says that's why Bam Rodriguez took a break after his recent fight. And you know what? To be honest, Bam Rodriguez could easily be fighter of the year. There's going to be a strong argument to keep him in contention. Most people have somebody else. But listen, what he did together this year and pulling off that impressive string of victories at 115 pounds and now going back to 112. Hey, keep him in the running for fighter of the year. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen this New Year's Eve, Drew, because his brother's going all the way. Joshua Franco, like I said, he'll be going all the way to Japan in the same weight class to see if he can pick up that 115 title. A very difficult task. And if he does, puts him in position for a dream matchup against the winner this weekend, which in my eyes and your eyes, sounds like we both picked Roman Chocolatito from Nicaragua this weekend. We'll see, man. We will see, Drew. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on the air, Drew. I want to give you the floor, man, and tell me what you think about what's been going on in the sports world, the sport of boxing. It's all you, Drew.
Well, just know a bunch of bullshit. because you got Tank talking shit, talking about he's gonna fight these motherfuckers after, he has 2 fights set up already. Shakur Stevenson, right? He's only talking shit when he has 2 fights lined up. This is the very first time in forever, and the first time in his career he has 2 fights lined up and everything. Really, people are wondering, is Tank with Floyd? It's not with Floyd. Doesn't matter. It's with Showtime. So he's still going to get the bum-ass fights. Like, Showtime is like, they're not doing good for business at all, because the thing about it is they don't understand business, because, excuse me, like, for you to make money, you have to sell fights. They have not been selling fights. The Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight flopped. That looks like it's fixed. Tank Davis's numbers haven't really been that great lately. So why not explore working with other networks, promoters, to make money? Split the revenue. Better chance of going up to $500K, maybe a little bit more on pay-per-view buys.
Yep.
Making the better fights and everything. But, like, they choose not to, because they think that, hey, we're going to do our own business. That's the business that got HBO done with boxing. And they're following the same pattern as HBO. And HBO is actually a better network for boxing than Showtime was, in my opinion. They had better fights.
Drew, I said that we were going to stop the show early, but I do want to take a call from one of our best callers from the 510. I think it's our homeboy, Nando. Nando, ¿qué pasa, homie?
Oh, hey, I just called in to say happy holidays to both you guys, man. I appreciate you guys' hard work, and I appreciate you guys doing the show at the last minute, man. Good looking out, man.
Yeah.
No, I just called in to say hello. That's it.
Hey,
yeah.
no, I appreciate you being one of the best callers on any of the boxing podcasts on the YouTube community, Nando. And real quick, man, do you have a pick for this weekend? Because Chocolatito Estrada 3, man, it's going to be fire.
I'm rooting for Gallo.
Yeah,
I know the first 2 fights weren't clear, right? Like, a lot of people think that Chocolatito won the first 2 fights. So, either way, man, I think it's going to be a good fight. You guys kind of remind me of, like, Marquez and Pacquiao.
For
It
sure.
doesn't really matter what point in their careers they are. It's going to be a great fight,
Exactly.
The fans always win with these guys, man, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
One last thing. The whole Tyson Fury thing, I know people are mad at him because of the Chisora fight. I'm just looking at it as a glorified tune-up fight. I'm not really like, would have been a good fight, great tune-up fight, kind of. Would have been Otto Wallin. I think that would have been an interesting fight, right? Because they had the really good fights last time, and that one ended kind of controversially also. But I don't know. The Chisora fight's a part of my ESPN Plus. I'm not paying any extra for it, and so I'm okay with it. It's fine. I'm not even watch it.
Yeah, that's a stay busy fight. Otto Wallin deserves to be in there with anybody. I think it's one of the best. He's one of the best opponents Tyson Fury has. He definitely, during the pandemic, gave him bloody hell, ripped up his face, and gave him a great fight, man. Nando, I appreciate it, man. Definitely call us back next Monday, because I think we'll be on our regularly scheduled time at 7:30 p.m. Our boy Nando, all the way from the 510. Thanks for the call, homie.
Happy holidays, brother.
You too, brother. All right, that was Nando. Drew, sorry, I'm gonna close down the phone line because we were trying to end the show so everybody could get some rest, man, and whatnot. Drew, there's been a lot of shit talking for sure on the internet, man. I can't even keep up with all the shit talking from Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo going at it. I hope these guys all fight each other, Drew, because they're part of that new era that use social media as a tool to sell their fights. They know that Jake Paul uses it, and he was doing great sales. Real quick, Drew, I want to give a shout out to Frank Gore of the 49ers. Frank Gore had his first celebrity fight, but it was a pro fight, and he says he's serious as hell, man. After retiring from the NFL, I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame player for sure. Frank Gore of the 49ers makes his second pro fight. He lost his first pro fight, Drew, but it was a damn good fight. And I think it was on one of those excuse me if I'm not correct, I think it was on a Jake Paul card. But he's taking that shit serious. He's training with some real people, and hopefully his second bout goes better, Drew. So, again, before I interrupted you, Drew, do you have any final words for the Shoe Shine this week?
Can't think of anything else. Yeah.
That's all good, everybody. Don't forget about the Shoe Shine. I know we haven't been doing our shows in the past 2 weeks on a regularly scheduled time, and support all your favorite YouTubers. I would dream to get to 500 subs before the end of the year. If you haven't already hit the subscription, if you know a boxing fan, tell them to sub to the Shoe Shine. We're trying to bring out a good product. Drew ain't feeling too good, but we will be back next Monday night at our regular scheduled time. Sam, thanks for coming in the room. Everybody, we will see you next week. We'll talk about Chocolatito Estrada 3. We'll talk about and preview, of course, Terrence Bud Crawford's return to the ring on a new network. We'll talk about Teofimo Lopez. And the rest is history, man. We'll see you next week. For the Shoe Shine, I'm Dave from the 408. We'll see you next week. Peace out, everybody.